on, my people? What side are you on?
We on the freedom side.
What side are you on, my people? What side are you on?
We on the freedom side.
Ella Baker was a freedom fighter, and she taught us how to fight.
Say what?
So we gon' fight all day and night until we get it right.
What side are you on, my people? What side are you on? We on the freedom side.
What side are you on, my people?
What side are you on? We on the freedom side.
Marsha P. Johnson was a freedom fighter, and she taught us how to fight.
Say what?
So we gon' fight all day and night until we get it right.
What side are you on, my people? What side are you on? We on the freedom side.
What side are you on, my people? What side are you on?
We on the freedom side.
Sada Shakur taught us how to fight.
Say what?
So we gon' fight all day and night until we get it right.
What side are you on, my people? What side are you on? We on the freedom side.
What side are you on, my people?
What side are you on? We on the freedom side.
Corinne Gaines was a freedom fighter, and she taught us how to fight.
Say what?
So we gon' fight all day and night until we get it right.
What side are you on, my people? What side are you on? We on the freedom side.
What side are you on, my people?
What side are you on? We on the freedom side.
What side are you on, my people?
What side are you on? We on the freedom side.
Oh my. You believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until the killing of black men, black mothers' sons is as important as the killing of white men, white mothers' sons. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. That which touches me most is that I had a chance to work with people, passing on to others that which was passed on to me. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. Sing it with us, come on. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. To me, young people comfort. They have the courage where we fail. And if I can but shed some light as they carry us through the gate, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. The older I get, the better I know that the secret of my going on is when the reins are in the hands of the young who dare to run against the storm. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. not needing to clutch for power, not needing the light just to shine on me. I need to be one in the number as we stand against tyranny. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until they come. Struggling myself don't mean a whole lot. I've come to realize that teaching others to stand and fight is the only way I struggle survive. We who believe in freedom and not rest. We who believe in freedom and not rest until they are. I'm a woman who speaks in a voice, and I must be heard. At times I can be quite difficult. I bow to no man's word. I wanna be who believe in freedom and not rest. We will believe in freedom and not rest until they are rest. Middle finger to the world. Middle finger to the world. Say no, no to the plug. Say no, no to the plug. Middle finger to the world. Middle finger to the world. Say no, no to the plug. Say no, no to the plug. Middle finger to the world. Middle finger to the world. Say no, no to the plug. Say no, no to the plug. Middle finger to the world. Middle finger to the world. Say no, no to the plug. Say no, no to the plug. We don't need no cops. 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 Middle finger to the world. Middle finger to the world. Say no, no to the plug. Say no, no to the plug. Middle finger to the world. Middle finger to the world. Say no, no to the plug. Say no, no to the plug. Middle finger to the world. Middle finger to the world. Say no, no to the plug. Say no, no to the plug.
Hey y'all. Thank you guys for joining us as we go into the next part of this series of How to Win Part 6, which is Take Action. So I have a few people here with me that I'm really excited about. We're going to discuss some ways that we can take action for Kalief. Today was going to be his 28th birthday. And he definitely deserved to live, and he definitely didn't deserve to be a victim to the M-Money bail system. So we're just going to talk about some different ways to take action for him. I first want to start with the Breathe Act. It was introduced in July of last year, 2020. And I know that we are on a year of today would have been the year anniversary of the day that George Floyd was murdered. And it's also Kalief's birthday. So there's a lot of Black grief around today. specifically, but also there is a lot that's happened since then, and there's so much more to happen that hasn't, been accomplished. And one of those things is the Breathe Act. The Breathe Act specifically was legislation written by Black people, different people from the Movement for Black Lives, who came together and said, "Hey, these are things we definitely need. This is what we're asking for." And one of those main things is ending money bail. So within the Breathe Act, there were very specific things about ending money bail, ending discrimination around, jailing and incarceration, ending incarceration, just overall complete abolishment in some ways of policing and how we currently see it. I want to give the other people on live right now to introduce themselves. We have Kanisha and Rebecca. Y'all can say, hey, whatever you want to do.
Okay. Hi, Kanisha, she, her, and I am part of the support services team with Louisville Community Bail Fund.
Hey y'all, I am Rebecca, she, her. I'm part of the data team and the research team within LCBF. And a lot of what is in the Breathe Act is stuff that we tackle when we look up research and when we do our data work. So I am happy to be here to talk about that.
And we're glad to have y'all. So some of the main ways you can take action today are actually through tweeting and Facebook messages that you post to your actual state reps. We are gonna post a link at the bottom with the link to our media kit that has pre-written text messages and pre-written posts that you can change or switch up however you want, but it also provides you with the information you need to take action in Kalief's honor. I'm gonna add that at the bottom. While I do that, does anyone want to talk about what like taking action in money bail would look like for you?
Well, I know ending money bail for me and the families that I work with would be honestly a matter of life and death. People would be able to actually get the services they need, whether it's mental health, whether it's housing, whatever those underlying areas are, they could address those and not have to deal with this burden on their shoulders of a court date and a warrant and keeping up with all this information and who to talk to and who to go to and what do you ask and the whole situation. Being on the outside looking in, it has been, especially last for Mother's Day, the Mother's Day bailout we did, it was completely eye-opening for all of us there. Just I know Amber was able to bail out her first person, and she just had this moment. A few hours later, I was able to bail out somebody, and it's just the feeling is indescribable because you're just like, I had to pay for somebody's freedom, like just that in of itself.
Yeah,
let's just end that. I shouldn't have to say we need to pay for somebody's freedom. That's what it would mean for me.
Yeah, I agree. That was definitely it was a really emotional experience for me, honestly. I'm not a very emotional person, but I've never bailed someone out of jail before. And just like you were saying, having to literally pay for someone's freedom, but also when you see like the conditions that people are being held in, like we're in a pandemic right now. They don't care about that. They have people huddled on top of each other. We waited hours and hours. I paid bills that morning and I waited till 2 a.m.
Days. We waited days.
Yeah, some people didn't come out for days. Like just the system in itself is built against these people. And that's the kind of system that Kalief Browder was in, that he was in solitary confinement in. We did a live earlier where I talked to Missy about like just the use of solitary confinement, which is also one of the main parts of the Breathe Act is getting rid of solitary confinement. He was a 16-year-old child. Like just thinking of the mental state that you put someone in that's a child by putting them in solitary confinement, all because he couldn't afford $100 bill. I think it was. I don't think it wasn't very expensive at all, but like for him, that's a lot. I mean, I know for me, I'm young. $100 is a lot for me. Like for someone who's well established, it might not be a lot, but that's a lot of money. So I definitely understood the predicament that he was in, that his family was in. I understand the circumstances that money bail causes, which is paying for someone's freedom, literally, who is being kidnapped and held by the carceral state because of something they think that someone did, which I also know way too well because I too have been arrested before. I know what it's like to be held for something that you didn't do. It doesn't matter. Like once you have been captured by the state and kidnapped and are in jail, you gotta pay your bail to get out, or it's over. So I definitely I understand what that's like. And if you are watching right now and you're checking this Bitly link, there's a document there that has like everything written out for you, different posts that you can send, different tweets you can post. Go ahead, Kanisha.
No, you're fine. I was talking to a 6-year-old.
Oh, okay. I was saying, it has different posts that you could post. It has different ways you can connect with your state rep. There's a link there that shows you how to find out who your state rep is. I understand, like, not everyone knows like who their congressman is. Not everybody knows like who represents them locally, what those people can even do, like different things like that. So that matters. And I think that it's really important that we provide people that information because we're going to get these wins through policy. We're going to get these wins by taking to the streets. We're going to get these wins by a multitude of ways. But the most important way is like by us taking action. So that link is there for y'all. I really hope that you go to it and start tweeting your reps. I've been tweeting today. I've been making Facebook posts. I know Kanisha's been posting. Rebecca's been posting. So we want to show like our reps that we are very serious about the Breathe Act, and that is important. It's vital to save Black lives. And that's the most important key thing. To save Black lives, we need to pass the Breathe Act. That's why it's called the Breathe Act, literally, because that's the only way for us to breathe is ending these ways that we are like literally hunting down Black people. Rebecca, did you want to say anything?
Yeah. So I'll jump in and just tackle sort of what ending money bail for me means is cash bail is part of this larger surveillance and supervision system that the criminal justice has, and they target Black and brown neighborhoods with these systems. And it's, things like you were saying, incarceration, cash bail, the things like ShotSpotter, those things are only in Black neighborhoods. So all of these things that are very data driven and very intelligence led, and that all of that leads to higher cash bails, and all of that leads to, as you all are saying, that targeting Black and brown neighborhoods, that it's ruining lives. For folks that live paycheck to paycheck, $50 might as well be $5,000, right? Like if you don't have money, you don't have money, whether it's $50 or more. So cash bail really is a way to keep people in the system. It's a way to keep people incarcerated so that the state can make money, and we want to disrupt that. And that's part of what ending cash bail is. And that for me is a huge part of it, is this tackling this larger surveillance system that is targeting our Black and brown neighborhoods. And one other thing about bonds, we've been doing a lot of budget work here in Louisville as the budget is coming up. And in the mayor's proposed budget, there is how they get money for their capital programs and like their funds, parts of their funds. Part of that is 53% of that comes directly from bonds. So we are using bonds to fund other programs when we could just, reallocate some money, eliminate cash bail, and eliminate the need for it.
Yeah, I agree. I really struggle with finding that kind of data. And so I think it's really interesting that you were able to find it because it's very hard to figure out where the bond money even goes when we're paying bail, like where to track it down, to find like the resources of where it's funneled through. And I think that's done on purpose, of course, but I think it's really interesting how, we go pay these bills to the clerk's office or whatever, and then we never see that money. Like we don't know where it's going to. We don't know who is being benefited, like none of that. I want to go over some parts of the Breathe Act that are the most important and that are linked in some of the tweets too that you can send out. So not only are we asking to abolish different forms of policing and to like get rid of different things like money bail and stuff like that, but we're also asking to divest out of police and invest in new approaches to community safety, utilizing funding incentives to create federal grant programs that incentivize decarceration and subsidize non-punitive community-led approaches to public safety. Because as we continue to say, we keep us safe. We as a community, we as Black people, we know how to self-govern ourselves and keep ourselves safe. We've been doing that since slavery. So it's not necessary to have police. We want to. One of the main parts of the bill is making grants to local jurisdictions so they can make and implement tailored plans to decarcerate their jails and or defund their police forces. Because the main thing you also hear is like, well, we don't know how we could possibly do that. We don't know how we could get rid of our police force. We don't know, what steps we could take. So great. In this bill, it offers and lays that out. We can offer you a grant so you can figure out ways to offer non-punitive community-led solutions and get rid of your police force. It's not that hard. A part of the bill also talks about incentivizing state, tribal, and local governments to make specified changes that shrink their criminal legal systems and in return provide federal funding to make those non-punitive, non-carceral investments in the community. So like those funds returning back to the community because they're not being used to criminalize Black people. And one of the biggest ones that I think is the most important is eliminating all fees and surcharges within the criminal legal system and forgiving outstanding court debt, reducing a financial burden that disproportionately falls on Black women. I think it's really important that we mention that because court costs and fees are something that a lot of people don't know about. One thing I didn't know about is like that when you go to jail and you get out, you have to pay money from that. I don't even know what that money is for. And then they don't provide information about what that money is for. Somebody will pay your bill, they'll let you out, then they send you a bill in the mail. And you're like, wait, what's that for? I don't even know what's happening here. And then people don't pay those, they don't have the money for that, and they'll come after them for that. And they're in debt for sometimes $3,000-$4,000 I've seen. And I've heard of higher amounts too, but you don't even know what the money is for. Like, I don't even know what I'm being charged a fee for. And I think it's really interesting also to charge people for kidnapping them. Because that's literally what we're doing. When you arrest someone who hasn't been convicted of a crime and then say, also, we're going to charge you when you get out because there's all these fees associated with it that I have no idea about. I think that's really interesting. And it's something we don't talk about a lot. So I'm really glad that that's also in that bill because it does disproportionately affect Black women. Also, categorically eliminating misdemeanor and pay-only probation because also that's leaning on like people paying for their freedom, like saying, hey, we'll let you out. You could just make these payments every month for this amount of time and then you're good. Like, where we do that at? And I've only seen that in certain places, but the fact that that's even an option just shows that like this is a system built against poor people, poor Black people specifically, where they want to take, your money or your very last that you have, or they're going to lock you up. And it's ridiculous. So those are some of the main parts from the Breathe Act that I want to highlight. And I also want to highlight a few of the posts. One of them says, on Kalief Browder's birthday, I'm asking my congressman to support the Breathe Act and its mission to end money bail and save Black lives. You can check out the Breathe Act here, and there's a link there. That's one of my favorite ones. I did write it, but that's not why it's my favorite. It's one of my favorite ones because I think it hits on specific asks, and I think that's important when we're asking people to take action, like laying out what you specifically want them to do. And so asking your congressperson, hey, this is important to me. This is important to save Black lives. I need you to support this. We need the Breathe Act to be pulled up, to be passed. We need to be called to the floor for a vote. Like, we need the Breathe Act to move. And it's not moving right now. And it's been, it was presented July 2020. So it's been in Congress for a minute. And people who aren't like really into politics, bills sit in Congress and stuff all the time for a while. That's not new. But when you apply public pressure to something, it's a great way to get it called to the floor and actually called to a vote. And so that's what we're hoping to do. We're hoping to bring as much attention as possible and have the bill actually called to the floor for a real vote and present it. Kanisha, did you have anything?
Yeah, because I've been looking at the Breathe Act, and when I look at it, it really resonates because I see how it can be used and how it can help Louisville. So, like, we all know that we're having some problems with our young people. Black and brown young men and women are at Kentucky Kingdom having problems. They're at the waterfront. They're in school systems. And instead of having the police, and that's how they're dealt with, they have to go to some detention center that basically just programs them to stay in that mentality and continue down that path. We actually invest in the stuff that we keep saying we want: the community centers, the counselors, the therapists, the mentor programs, the jobs, the educational services they need, the parenting services family need. That's what we want to invest into. We're not saying, oh, we don't need police. We're saying there is a better way. One of the things that I've learned recently is that the creation, as you will, in this country for police was to catch slaves. So unless we're still slaves, we don't need that anymore. Their job did not change since it started. But if we've changed and we've grown as a country, then shouldn't we start looking at these things that haven't changed with us? Because I have an 18-year-old, and I was telling Amber, looking at that picture of Kalief just hurts because I have an 18-year-old. And a lot of us are in this work for a lot of reasons. I'm in this work because, damn it, I'm tired of losing our babies. And if we don't stop losing our babies, we're going to keep losing our mamas and daddies too. So everybody wants to do something. Take action. Dead serious. I was going to say a cuss word.
It's okay. I've cut before. You're good. But I think you called it. You mentioned a really good thing about, or a really good point about young people, because that's a huge part of the bridge is like providing resources for them. And I think that like the biggest thing I try to push is that the idea that like our communities are literally being sucked dry. Like they aren't receiving any,
Mhm.
aren't getting any resources. We're buying tanks, we're buying military gear, we're buying all this crazy shit from police that they won't ever use. But kids don't even have like nice community centers to go to. They don't even have like nice parks. Like not even actual resources to just live basic life. Like not, I'm not asking for luxury. I'm not asking for, going all out. I'm talking about basic stuff kids aren't even getting because we're so busy trying to criminalize them from the moment they're born.
But you said they're going to buy tanks and stuff they're not going to use. They're going to use them when we're walking down the street defending our constitutional rights and expressing our constitutional rights. They're not going to use them when other people climb buildings in Washington, D.C. That's when they won't use them. But if they see us walking down the street, they'll use them then.
You're right. You're very right. I know Rebecca does a lot with the LCBF volunteers. And so, can you talk about how people can take action that way with volunteering with LCBF? And I also have the information at the bottom of the screen about how you can sign up to volunteer for Court Watch too.
Yeah, Court Watch is one of my little favorite programs. Court Watch is we're watching specific judges and what they're doing in their courtrooms that are up for re-election in 2022. Judges have a lot of power. They make a lot of decisions that set precedent that last for decades, that take a long time to undo, and they directly impact many people's lives. So we're watching them, and that's what we do at Court Watch. And what we volunteers do is you just jump in the courtroom and you take notes, and then you fill out a form for us, and then we use that data to impact how we move further. Other ways to volunteer is our hotline, which is answering calls from folks that are currently incarcerated and also their family members. We do some surveys with that and gather some data and stories with that we can use, and that is how we identify folks to bail out as well. So that's a key part of the process. And then if you're available for things like support services, which is what we do to help build those grassroots connections of support resources and things like that, so that we are not depending on the state to get those resources that's coming from ourselves. And then I believe we also have some data and research and things like that. If folks are home and they want to do those types of things, we're always constantly looking for help with that as well. Sorry, kids behind me too. And then the last thing is communications, helping us do sort of graphics and make sure that our stories are getting told and that folks are hearing what we're doing in our work. And you can sign up the Court Watch. We're doing a training tomorrow at 7 to 8:30 for Court Watch. And if you sign up on that bit.ly, then we'll get you the information. And I'm going to mute myself.
It's okay. We're
Give
not
it for a
doing.
We're
We're not.
going to have another thing scroll down at the bottom from now on. like we have kids or animals or something that's going to move behind us. Just bear with us.
We're real people. So I'm not like, we're not shooting this from the MSNBC studio. We are very real people at our homes in the pandemic. So y'all gonna take what you're gonna get, and that's fine. Because we're gonna get the information to you regardless. So that's all that matters. Thank you so much for riding that, Rebecca. And I also put at the bottom, you can see the link scrolling if y'all want to sign up. I'm going to change it over to the volunteer link because I want to make sure that people who want to go to the training tomorrow have that information. And so you'll see that at scroll at the bottom. Before we peace out, I want to go over a little bit more with like direct ways to take action right now. In the next 30 minutes, what can you do? So like Rebecca just mentioned, you can sign up to volunteer. We got a court watch training tomorrow. It is imperative that we do court watch. Because what judges will do, as I've seen while actually attending court over the last few years for other people, is that they'll do whatever they want to do when they think anyone's in there. Like on a regular day, if it's not like a high profile case, on an everyday basis, judges hear about 30 to 50 cases within a day. And people usually aren't in there sitting there watching. So we have crafted these different judges we're going to target, specifically our bailouts, but also judges who have definitely done misconduct or just have a bad rep. We want to follow and sit in their courtrooms to see what they're saying. I mean, I personally have sat in court watch and heard some very interesting things. You'll be very surprised what judges are willing to say when they think that no one is listening to them. And when it comes to saving Black lives, one of the biggest ways is through participatory defense, which is having a community participate in the defense of someone else, like one of our bailouts or anyone else who might have to go to court for something they did not do or for being discriminated against or whatever. Having people there participating, asking questions to the lawyer if they know the lawyer, or just writing down notes and seeing what's happening is very beneficial, because when you have eyes on people, and we've seen this, when you have eyes on someone, they act differently. We've seen this in everything, in sports, in politics. You've seen it at your friend's house when they knew boo come over for the first time. Like, it happens all the time. People's behavior change. We're very much guided by everyone's behavior around us. And when people are being watched, they definitely act different. So we want to make sure we keep that going. And the best way to do that is through our court watch. So you can sign up with LCBF, the LCBF volunteer link below. You can also call this number, which you'll see flash at the bottom now. You can call or text that number and say you want to volunteer if you didn't get a chance to catch the link. So you have many options. But another thing you can do right now is click on this link to take action that I'm going to post right now and actually send out a tweet, because I know y'all be tweeting, because I'll be tweeting. So you can tweet your congressperson. One thing I have noticed about Congress people, this isn't like local or state, this is national, like whoever represents you statewide, they be on Twitter, because my congressman be on Twitter. I don't know what it is about Twitter versus Facebook, but they be on Twitter. And let me tell you, just tweet them a little bit with our links, tell them to support the Breathe Act. It does make a difference. You can also call their offices. On this link, there's a link that shows you how do you find your rep. Like if you don't know who your state rep is, or like your local city council person or your congressperson, it goes all the way up nationally. Here's who it is. You put in your zip code, they'll tell you. You can also call their office and be like, hey, although we are celebrating Kalief Browder's birthday today, we also want to call, action to the fact that he didn't have to die. He shouldn't have been a victim of the money bail system, and that's exactly what happened to him. And we want to end money bail now, so we need you to support the Breathe Act. Like, that's all you got to do. I've done it plenty of times. I know it can be kind of weird. Just keep it short and simple. Hey, I need you to support the Breathe Act. Can I send you a link? You can email them that, hey, here's a link to the Breathe Act. I need you to support this, and this is why. And then provide information about ending money bail. It's not too difficult, but we need people to like start taking action now, because like Black lives are on the line, and we're trying to save as many Black lives as possible. Y'all see we losing Black people every day. Like we're literally being hunted down and murdered. So whatever we can do to save Black lives, we're trying to do it. And that includes taking action today for Kalief. It's also the anniversary of the day that George Floyd was murdered. So like there's a lot of Black grief happening. And I find, for me personally, I feel better like doing something constructive and like knowing that I'm trying to make the current world that we have right now a better place. And that's by taking action for these Black lives that we try to save. So does anybody else have anything they want to say before we dip out?
Well, I just tweeted in the 10 seconds that you told me we're talking about it, so it's that quick and that easy. I tweeted at John Yarmouth because that's mine. And I just make sure y'all get it out. And for the white folks that are on here, talk to your people. That is what we can do to address, as support of the Black folks around us that are grieving, is that we change our people, right? So go have conversations, disrupt your own dinner table, make people uncomfortable. That would be what I would have to end on.
And another way that you guys, that white people can disrupt, is some reparations. Because Black people are really grieving today. There's a lot of Black grief in the air. I'm seeing sadness all over the place. It is very hard to find Black joy when we're being murdered. So if you got some Black friends, you can send them a cash out, send them some lunch, send them a snack, pay for somebody to go to the spa, get their nails done, whatever you're trying to do. But I think that's also a great way to, take immediate action. It's like taking care of the people around you that you're connected to.
Absolutely.
Do you have anything, Kanisha, before we dip out?
My hair itches really bad. I don't see how y'all do this.
We didn't say to them Africans. You the one wanted to, do what it do. Wanted to be cute so bad. Now look at you.
This is not about the action, man. Leave me be.
It's all good. Okay, so I really appreciate y'all joining us for part 6 of How Do We Win, which is taking action to end money bail. As we celebrate Kalief Browder's 28th birthday. If y'all missed it in the beginning, we did a little memorial celebration for him. And then we'll do another one later on too. We're gonna go live at 6 to talk about how we do the work that we do within LCBF, like how bailouts are helping to end the money bail movement, how are we supporting our folks, like what does that look like? So I appreciate y'all joining us. We'll catch y'all later on at 6.
Bye.